Good evening. It's nice to be with you again, isn't it, Ronnie?
Yes, it is. And in a packed programme tonight, we shall be talking to a gunsmith who invented a sage and onion bullet, so you can shoot the goose and stuff it at the same time.
Then a very wealthy man who was a snowplough driver in Trinidad will tell us how he fiddled his overtime.
And then we shall be discussing potholing and why it ruins the bedroom carpets.
But first, the news. We've just heard that 3 desperate criminals who escaped from Dartmoor yesterday in appalling weather conditions have been recaptured. One was in Jersey, another in Cardigan, and a third was in a nice woolly jumper his mummy made.
British Rail have announced that they have developed a new engine that is so fast it can travel from London to Reading before its driver gets a pay rise.
British Rail research scientists have come up with a new serum for the common cold. It doesn't cure the cold, but your nose will only run in good weather.
And tonight we applaud the generosity of a cinema in Peebles who've put up a notice saying old age pensioners admitted free if accompanied by their parents.
But serious news from the village of Lower Munsden cum Widdicombe Magna de la Zouche on the Little Waverley with the Upper Walbury Spookley. It's now completely cut off from the rest of the world as the signpost is blocking the road.
A survey on the decline of morals in the country reveals today that last week in Liverpool alone, an average of 267 women made love to an unmarried man. The man is now recovering in hospital.
And now, a sketch in which Mr. Ronnie Barker plays the part of a bridegroom who finds there is no bed in the honeymoon suite and has to stand up for his conjugal rights.
That sounds like someone at door.
I did it.
Good morning, Sonny. Is your mummy in?
It's another one of them sales, my love.
I wonder if I can interest you in a nice set of encyclopedias full of very interesting information. You think I could? For example, did you know that Siberian Lake Balkash has an area of no less than 7,050 square miles?
Yes.
Oh. Well, did you know that the river Yangtze-Kiang in China is some 3,400 miles long?
Yes.
Oh, well, did you know that the highest mountain in South America is Mount Ilampu, being some 23,012 feet high?
Oh, dear, I think you're wrong there, lad. No, the highest mountain in South America is surely Mount Aconcagua, isn't it? Which is over 69 feet higher than the Ilampu. Isn't that right, our Elsie?
Near, Arthur. The highest mountain in South America's Mount Cotopaxi, surely.
Of course, sister. I tell you what, it's our Lily. She'll know. Lily, what's the highest mountain in South America, love?
Oh, you're not stuck on that one again, are you? It's Mount Chimborazo.
No, I'm sure it's the Aconcagua, isn't it, love?
It's Chimborazo. It's true as I'm standing here.
You're not standing there, are you? Sitting down.
Listen, never mind that. Let's try another one.
Oh,
Did
right.
you know that when Dr. Johnson said many a good hanging prevents a bad marriage, he was referring
No,
to...
that wasn't Dr. Johnson. That was George Bernard Shaw. That was never Dr. Johnson, was it, our Elsie, eh?
Dr. Johnson, isn't he a chap that said, let me smile with the wise and feed with the rich?
Yeah, that's the bloke, yes. I was just talking to Mrs. Butterworth about him this morning.
Mrs. Butterworth?
Yeah.
Isn't it her what proved the existence of a fourth dimension?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, she's never done that, has she? Oh, Ecky Thump, I was just putting the finishing touches to a thesis on that myself.
Look, never mind about all that. Would you like to tell me what the diameter of the planet Neptune is, wait a minute, compared with our own good Earth?
Now, I can tell you that because I was just working that out myself when I was putting the finishing touches to the cistern in the lavvy. Yes. Now, I tell you, the diameter of the planet Neptune is 31,000 miles, and compared with our own mere 7,926 miles, is a ratio of 4 to 1. Isn't that right, our Elsie?
Ah, that's right, Arthur.
All right, let's dispense with this kiddie-winky stuff.
Yeah.
I want you to translate, or convert is a better word. I want you to convert 70 degrees Fahrenheit to Riamur.
16.8.
120?
39.1.
160.
56.8.
Damn. What is the name of the dwarf monkey which lives in the Amazonian mountains and feeds on small flowers, fruits, shoots, and cheroots and small birds?
Oh, that's the white-eared marmoset.
Goodness me. What is the name of the bird called after its remarkable call and remarkable because it lays eggs in other birds' nests? What is the population calculation of the...
3,748,521.
Who was it that...
Max Bygrave. The great galaxy of Andromeda.
Oh, goodness, I have not sold a book all week. You know absolutely everything, don't you?
Don't
Everything.
worry, don't take on, lad. I'll buy a set of your boots.
You will?
Yeah.
It'll be £2 a week for 5 weeks.
Oh. How much is that? What's £2 a week for 5 weeks?
£10.
£10, never 10. What's 5 twos, Lily?
And it's 7.
7. Is it 7? No, what is 5
No,
twos?
5 days is 10.
No.
Just see it, Paul.
Good evening. I'm the Minister of Inflation. Now, what is inflation? Well, look at this graph here. It shows the cost of spending a penny at Euston Station every year since 1884. Of course, there are very few people alive today who have actually done that. But the graph does serve one very useful purpose. I can hang my umbrella on it. Now, what about prices? Now, these trousers, for example. Now, what do we notice? Well, first, they've got 3 legs. That's, of course, just to be on the safe side. Unless you live in the King's Road, in which case there's no safe side. Now, trousers are going up alarmingly. Now, what does this give us, apart from a high voice? It means in 7 years' time, only millionaires will be still wearing the trousers. And, of course, my wife. Now, let us look up skirts. They are going up faster than trousers. And, of course, Y-fronts are out of all proportion. The trouble is, you see, that the pound is no longer worth the paper it's printed on. In fact, if you take your pound to a scrap paper merchant, he'll give you £3 for it. By 1984, paper hankers will be £6 each, so it'll be cheaper to blow your nose on a fiver. What about the government, I hear someone ask, but not quite as politely as that. Well, take me, for example. The fact is, my secretary, Miss Rita Crampett, and myself have barely got 2 pennies to rub between us. Have you tried that? Fun, isn't it? But what are we in the government going to do about this crisis? Quite simple. We're going to resign. But meanwhile, certain economies will have to be made. First, let me tell you about the system known as barter. As all paper is now useless, I wrote a cheque on this hot water bottle. It's warm in the pocket, smells nice, if you like that sort of thing. And unlike a cheque, it can't bounce. Well, only a bit. Another remedy is to use animals as money. Now, yesterday I went into a restaurant where they make lovely dishes out of useless money. I had a nice meal. I had fried fivers, peas and half peas with a crisp... Not split peas, half peas. With a crisp pound note salad. All I had in my pocket was a couple of rabbits. So I gave the waiter 7 of them. I said, waiter, there's a fly in my soup. He said, that's your change. How does it all work? Now, take my wife. She's worth a cow and a sheep. My mother-in-law, just a cow. They could buy each other, and I'd be left with the sheep. And I could then put the sheep on a horse and win 10,000 hamsters and the 2,000 guinea pigs at Kempton Park. Dogs could also be used. Now, here is a rough example. Here is a smooth example. Now, the system, of course, would be decimal. 10 poms to the poodle, 10 poodles to the puddle, and 100 dog peas in the dog pound. The whole thing is catching on. Only today at Christie's, a constable went for a Great Dane, and a Great Dane went for a postman. However, I have suggested an even simpler system, and the Chancellor of the Exchequer has given me his full support. Though what it's full of, I can't tell you. Inflation has caused shares to drop, prices have gone up, and living standards have come down. Therefore, my remedy is to reverse all the present trends. We've got to pick ourselves down, stand on our own 2 hands, and undo our own things. Good night.
Satchmo was Louis Armstrong, the king of the horn. Satchmo, a joy to us from the day he was born. In New Orleans, Louisiana, July 1900. Soon he's singing on the sidewalk, Eddie Nichols talking like a... When he's 12, they pull him in away. Some learns to play a bugle and bat a cornet. From the day young Louis started blowing, he could make a song that we'd never forget. And Parker Joe was the man who showed Louis something. You gotta keep to the beat as the cornerstone. The clarinet, the piano, the slide trombone can move around in and out, that's the way he's done. In 22 it was Joe up in wild Chicago, who sent for Louis to join his front line. They never a new one hit him. The greatest band with Satchmo storming Chicagoland. Satchmo, a leaving Papa, a ride to New York. Satchmo, to fill a chair in the Henderson org. He took his place with Coleman Hawkins, just with Buster Bailey. Swinging, singing, trumpet master, phrasing ideas that much faster. Homesick for his villain in Chicago, he went back and set up the classic Hot Five. Soon his fame throughout the world was spreading. They were calling Satchmo the greatest alive. As Tom and Road, he left to blow. With cats like Louis, Russell, Zooty, the Doodad Brothers. Recording time, Satch in his prime. And misbehaving, Basin Street, and so many others. Big Satch party, what a match. He led the old stars all over the world and back. History will call him ambassador, paying his way to the hearts of all mankind.
And Lord Ballymac, the knife in Hoagie's rocking chair, he brought to singing a gift so rare, and changed the course of jazz the way that no one has. The mighty swinger in 65, our little waif received the key to New Orleans.
Among his people, Louis looked back through all the years of playing to the waves home in that old corner. Satchmo was Louis Armstrong at 71. Satchmo, he laid his horn down, his playing was done. There'll never be another like him, Pop's the one and only. Papa Joe Hart, Nori, part and parcel of his story. He will live as long as there is music. You'll be hearing Satchmo right in there somewhere. Gravel voice, white teeth, and shiny trumpet. Sleepy time down south, and the famous Oh Yeah.
Yes, I'll be round straight after surgery. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Doctor.
Would you mind just slipping behind the screen and stripping down to your bra and pants, please?
Oh, I can't, Doctor. It's so embarrassing.
Oh, don't be so silly. I'm a doctor. I've got hundreds of patients outside waiting to see me now. Please, hurry up. Let's have no nonsense.
Oh, very well, Doctor.
Gracious me. Whatever next. Well, then. That's more like it. Now, perhaps we can get on with some work. Take a letter, would you please, Miss Williams?
The clumsy drug affair. Piggy and Charlie, having tracked the gang to Marseille, had managed to secure a map of the villain's hideout drawn on a pair of ladies' panties. But even as they studied the contours, the beautiful owner of the aforementioned unmentionables was planning to give our two heroes a dose of the dreaded clumsy drug itself, planted inside the speciality of the house. At the fancy dress dance, Piggy and Charlie, disguised as the two villains, were confronted by the real villains themselves, and the balloon went up. Piggy alone ate the cake, and now the awful effects began to show themselves as the loyal Charlie helped him back to their hotel bedroom.
Come in, Chief. Oh, dear. Look, you better sit down. I mean, this drug's obviously got some very powerful effects.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Sit down there, that's it. Does it hurt at all?
No, it doesn't hurt. No, it's just makes you difficult to control your movement. That's all, isn't it?
Well, according to London, it only lasts a short while.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think it's wearing off already.
Never mind. I've ordered you a drink. I'll go in and get this stuff off my face, and I'll come out and help you into bed.
Right. Monsieur? Ah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Oh. Put it on the bill, would you?
Do that. You ought to rest, you know. They say this drug's got some very powerful side effects.
Yeah, got some pretty horrible front effects and all. Let me
just sit down there and we'll get this all tin.
What's that?
Note. It's from Madame Cocotte. I am in deadly danger. Meet me at midnight in the El Fatale Club, 17 Rue de Remarques.
17 what?
Rue de Remarques. It's in the Arab Quarter.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. Okay.
Wait for me there, please, please. Then in a private room, I will reveal everything to you.
Put like that, we can hardly refuse, can we?
If you're fit enough, you know. I mean, you know, still a bit clumsy.
All right, it's 2 hours yet, isn't it, that? Oh, it'll have worn off by then.
There we are, then. For the sake of that poor, unprotected, magnificently built woman, we will go to the El Fatale Club. Fine, thank you.
Two light ales, please.
Read something.
It's a bit hard. One of those.
Bit of a dump, this, isn't it?
Real den of iniquity. This is the place where that American beauty queen had a few drinks, took off her blouse and danced topless. Didn't you read it in the papers? She said she only did it for the laughs.
Did she get any?
She attracted a couple of titters.
Dear, what do you want to do that for?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chief. I couldn't help it.
My God. They've drugged the drinks. Are you all right?
This drink's all right.
Yeah, but you're acting clumsy, aren't you?
That's not the drug. I just am clumsy sometimes. Just naturally clumsy, you know.
Oh, I see.
Those stupid fools have arrived. They've walked right into the trap.
All we have to do now is to close in on them.
Be patient, my dear Bob Job. Give it time, give it time. Our dear Madame Cocotte has to set things up at the villa.
Who's this?
You ordered.
A long time since I've had light ale and jelly.
You must expect strange mixtures at these sort of exotic places, you know. Aren't you going to try some, Chief?
No, I've gone off it now. Where's that woman got to?
She's probably pouring herself into one of those low-cut dresses she wears.
What, you mean like her over there? Yeah. You don't get many of those to the pound. I wonder what's holding her up.
What, I mean that girl over there?
No, I mean Madame Cocotte.
Oh, nothing. It's all I see her in a negligee.
I mean, why is she late?
Oh. Hey, Chief, do you think we look a bit spare sitting here, a bit suspicious-like?
Yes, perhaps you're right. Perhaps we better have a dance.
Make us look even more suspicious. Get arrested for that sort of thing here, you know.
I didn't mean together. I meant pick out a couple of birds.
Frankly, I don't advise it.
Why?
The only 2 birds that aren't dancing are sitting over there.
Oh, dear. Yeah, they're men, aren't they?
I don't know. Wouldn't fancy trying to find out. It'd be a terrible disappointment either way.
I'm sure they're fellas.
Look, they're moving.
Just shows you how wrong you can be, doesn't it?
Still don't fancy tripping the light fantastic round the dance floor with them, though.
She's obviously not coming.
Something's happened to her.
Come on, let's go. I've had a belly full of this place.
Have you a light, monsieur?
Is this the end for our 2 heroes? What of Madame Cocotte? Is she in some bedroom somewhere, lying in wait with a silencer? Or lying in silence with a waiter? Find out next week in another exciting episode, Villa of Villainy.
Thank you. Here is a very funny joke that will make you laugh. Well, I mean, I don't suppose it will make everybody laugh. I mean, that, as I've said before, from this very chair, is a matter of circumstances. I mean, if your wife has gone off to her pottery class and left you at home explaining the Kama Sutra to the Swedish au pair, then we won't get much change out of you until the epilogue. But good luck and try not to break anything. Now, I found this joke, I'll be honest, I found this joke when I was browsing through the Reader's Digest, November 1947, and I read it between an article entitled, I Neglected My Spleen and My Kneecaps Fell Off, and a very interesting piece about a lady who brought up a family of 14 with one hand while waiting for direct inquiries. A few letters about that one. Now, anyway, this joke is actually the first story I ever told when I came into show business. Now, I went into show business, you know, when my father's business went broke. He was running a damaged pet shop. You know, you could go in and get, you know, a flat hedgehog. or a bent tortoise. Or a slightly torn duck, you know. And if 2 cats collided, he would collect what was left and try and make one good one. However, I actually told this joke at my very first stage appearance, which was at a little night spot in downtown Stoke Poges. The St. John's Women's Institute Argogo, it was called. We used to get a pretty motley crowd in there, you know, mostly cigarette smokers and aspirin pushers, with a sprinkling of Cenopod drinkers on the run, and the heavy mob from Weight Watchers. Now, if one of the Cenopod drinkers trying to get out. She's going the wrong way, actually. It's the gents over there. Never mind, think of the new friend she'll make. Now, if you were known in this club, you could sometimes buy, you know, a hot knitting pattern or a packet of saucy brass rubbings. And if you didn't care to watch the cabaret and you fancied a little flutter, you could go upstairs to the Doris Archer room, which incidentally was later renamed the Arthur Stomp Weasel Suite, as a mark of respect for the old caretaker, who was accidentally locked in all night with the scoutmaster. And has never been the same since. Or never been the same since. got lots of letters about that as well. Some say it was an accident, and some say it was done on purpose, because he was suspected of being a traffic warden's narc. I remember the gaming room very, very clearly. It was just opened, and they were very, very short of equipment. Good heavens. I saw a chap called Abundance Declare on 6, 7, 8 of clubs, 3 beer mats, 2 Rivitas and a Marley tire. Anyway, all that is really nothing to do with what I set out to tell you, I seem to have wandered from the point because a bit. Sometimes wish I'd kept on that course, I took a course once in positive thinking. I did. Did it for 2 years and I couldn't make up my mind whether to stay on or not. At last, I've got it. And I also remember the joke. Well, this story concerns a lady who advertised for a handyman. And a chap turned up and she said, I shall want you to look after the garden and paint the garage. And he said, well, I'm sorry, I don't do gardening on account of my back, and I am allergic to paint. She said, well, could you mend the fence? He said, that's carpentry, isn't it? He said, I don't understand carpentry. She said, well, could you think you could clean the windows? Well, he said, no. He said, I might fall off the ladder and kill myself, And I don't want to do that because I'm all I've got. She said, well, my good man, I don't wish to hurt your feelings, she said, but to be perfectly frank, you seem to me to be about as much good as a glass eye or a joke book at a funeral. She said to him, what makes you think you're so handy? He said, well, I only live round the corner.
Thank you. Just a quick word before we start off. Due to circumstances beyond his control, the lad who was playing the part of Rodney had to get married on Saturday and is at this moment having a wonderful time up a Swiss Alp. George Biggins, however, has agreed to play the part at an hour's notice and has shut the butcher shop early especially. My wife's still playing one of the lovers, so we hope for a bit of fun there. By the by, if there are any men who wish to join the dramatic society, not women, I've got enough of those to last me a lifetime. No, just men. Please see me after the performance backstage, will you? If you can get round. No room to swing a cat back here. Young Trevor will have to find another hobby. Incidentally, we painted all the scenery ourselves. Right, on we go then. Let's get on with it, could we? Thank you. Right, let's get on.
Good gracious, the master! And me with my dumplings on the table. So, this is the elegant Mayfair flat I've heard so much about. It's beautiful. Tell me, what's it like being a successful novelist, Charles?
Utterly divine, my dear, and desperately boring at the same time. Money isn't everything, darling.
Money? Money cannot bring happiness, but it enables you to be miserable in comfort.
What has money brought me, dear?
You've got your yacht in Cannes. Oh, you're so lucky. You can lie on the deck and sunbathe all summer. Heaven.
I get tired of lying in Cannes. One feels so like a sardine. Cocktail, dear.
Oh, divine. What are you looking at me like that for?
'Cause I love you, you silly little fool.
I know. Isn't it heaven? What have you got there?
It's my new cocktail shaker, dear. Isn't it divine?
Heaven.
Olive?
Yes, Charles.
Stuffed?
No, just a plain olive, thanks, Charles.
Very well, Cynthia. Cheers.
When will we be married, Charles?
Just as soon as my dreadfully boring divorce comes through, dear. Remember, I got a grown-up son. Still, let's not think about him. He's miles away up at Oxford.
Master Rodney, sir.
Good heavens.
What?
Hello, Pops.
Rodney, why are you not up at Oxford?
They sent me down, Pops. Dash rotten. Luck, wasn't it?
I must phone the governors at once. How dare they treat a sensitive person like you by pushing you aside in such a way, like that? How dare they put a sensitive person aside? I mean, when they know you must be... I mean, they treat you, thank you very much, they treat you as though you're some... treat you as though you're some country bumpkin. Cynthia will mix you a cocktail.
You!
What are you doing here, Snithier? I thought I'd never see you again.
Charles, your father doesn't know about us, does he?
I've told him. I've told him nothing.
What? What a relief. Cocktail?
Well, as long as it's a little one, I'm not really old enough.
Oh, Rodney, do you remember what I said to you in Oxford that night in the shrubbery?
Well, as long as it's a little one, I'm not really old enough. No? What?
We both know what we were doing. We both know that. We both know what we were doing to each other. But I knew I was doing something to you you didn't know about. There was something you couldn't know about that I was doing to you. A young, innocent boy. How could you know I was corrupting you?
Door.
Oh, God, is there no privacy anywhere?
If you want people to leave you alone, you should have your doorbells disconnected.
Knockers!
If you want people to leave you alone, you should have your knockers disconnected. Not today, thank you.
Oh, Rodney, come to me, my own sweet boy.
Oh, how radiant you look, Snithier. I could sing your praises forever. I don't know where to start. Turn over. What a curious expression, Snithier. What are you thinking?
It mustn't happen. It can't happen. Not this way. But it must. It must. I don't care about the world. Kiss me.
Rodney, who's under there? I recognise that face. What is going on? And what is more important, what is that bloody thing there?
Grandfather, Pops has just popped out. Fancy a cocktail?
No, thank you. You keep your filth to yourself. I'm going to look for my son and tell him that his Cynthia's flat out on the sofa, on top of which his son is behaving very underhanded behind his back under his very nose. Off! He's fainted.
Please get up. It's no good.
No.
Get up.
Emma.
I can't go on anymore. I'm going. What time is it?
1 o'clock.
I must go back to the south of France. And you, Rodney, you must return to your music.
So this is the end.
is this old girl?
I am her husband, Gaston Gerard, at your service. I come from France. Did you not get my letter?
Husband?
Oh, it's true. I've deceived you. You, Rodney, your father, your grandfather. But I don't care. All I wanted was adventure.
Oh, well, if that's how things are, then I am off. I'm going back to somewhere where I know I'm always welcome.
Gaston, come and sit here. You must forgive me, you know.
Oui, Cherry. I will do, provided you promise me you never will let another man kiss you again. Ever.
I promise you this, my darling. No man shall ever kiss me on the lips again. From now on, it's all over.
Well, that's all for this week. Next week, we'll have an excerpt from the new grand opera Eskimo Nell, in which a 17-stone contralto sings "You're Tiny and It's Frozen."
And we'll have with us a very, very unlucky man. He crossed an enormous pear tree with a couple of blue tits, and he got an enormous pair of blue trees.
Here's the late news. Streakers in the Greater London area are now being faced with Scotland Yard's latest countermeasure: police dogs with wet noses.
And at this evening's meeting of the Clock and Watchmakers Federation, the chairman was given a big hand, the vice-chairman a little hand, and the meeting was wound up.
News from the courts. British Rail won their case against a party of rabbis today. They claimed that though they were the children of Israel, this did not entitle them to travel half fare.
And in the divorce court, a man told the judge that his wife, an enthusiastic traffic warden, had painted double yellow lines around her waist and had booked him 15 times already this month. He didn't mind paying the fines, but he did object when she kept towing him away.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. So